So as many of you know, or you may not know, that when you purchase a home, you will be regularly working with a loan officer. This is to determine the details of your loan. Okay. Now, this can be tricky, it can be a little challenging, a little intimidating, but for many things there are many things that will impact your loan, which is why we have brought in an expert loan officer, Mr. Tommy Jones, to answer all of your questions on this. Now, Tommy Jones is a mortgage loan consultant with Loan Depot. He has nearly 2 decades in the financial services industry by taking a people-centered approach. Now, he has on his mask, but I'm thinking you may look familiar to me. Tommy! Hey, Tommy! Hi! Okay, I know all these people on here today. This is crazy. Okay. Now I'm super excited, okay? Let me finish your introduction because you deserve this, brother, okay? Mr. Jones strives to build relationships on trust and honesty, and I can account for that for him. Whether the client is a first-time home buyer or a seasoned investor, his approach is the same. He always provides a customized plan that meets the needs of the client. So throughout his career, Mr. Jones has won several awards, has been recognized as a top producer, which that is how I know Mr. Jones. So I want you guys to welcome Tommy to our program. Hey, Tommy.
Hey, Jade, how are you?
Good. I didn't even know. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. Okay.
It's so good to be seen.
So here's the thing. We're going to do Ask Me Anything, okay?
Anything,
so this is exactly, this is the fun part, because I want everybody that's tuned in right now to know that in your chat, Mr. Jones is a loan officer, so you can ask anything that you want in the chat. He is going to answer these questions for you within our allotted amount of time. But I'm going to kick off the first one. First of all, how are you doing today?
I am great, sis. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you. I appreciate. I'm so glad you're on here. Look, it's just, you guys, I keep saying this. Whenever you're building a team to help you through this process, you want to build nice, honest, consistent people. And everybody on here today, that's exactly the characteristics that they have. And I'm so excited that you're a part of this. So let's jump into the first question everybody's going to ask. Everybody grab your pen and paper too, so you can take notes on this, because this information is very important. So when it comes to a down payment, Tommy, and closing costs, we want to buy the home. So the first thing everybody's going to ask is, well, how much money do I need to save?
Well, that's a great question, Jay. You know, it really depends on your situation.
Mm-hmm.
There are tons of first-time home buyer or even next-time home buyer grants available. Like, I'll give you an example. I just put a young lady in a $240,000 in Mansfield, and her total out-of-pocket was $1,000, Jay. So she qualified for one of my grants, and we got the seller to pay some of the closing costs. So her total investment on over $250,000 house, Jade, was $1,000.
Okay, Tommy, I've never heard of that before in my life. I should have been dealing with you when I bought my first home, Lord Jesus.
You should have hollered at your boy.
Yes. Okay, so you say, so grants. So let's talk about that, because I thought that grants were simply for education. So there are grants that you can apply when it comes to home buying?
Yes, there are initiatives out there, Jade, that, for example, you can get anywhere from 3 to 8% of the sales price for a grant. Like, this young lady bought a $240,000 house, and we were able to get her, I believe, a little over $12,000 from a grant. And then we got the seller to pay some of the closing costs. So her total investment was $1,000. So basically, it was cheaper for her, Jade, to buy a house than go rent an apartment, because, you know, in an apartment, you have to do first and last month's rent.
Right. Yeah. Which can be awfully expensive.
Correct.
Okay.
Well,
that's good to know. Yeah.
Actually, Jade, in Dallas, in the DFW area, the average 2-bedroom apartment is $1,600 a month.
My goodness, which is probably more than what a mortgage payment would be for somebody to be able to own their own home in a lot of circumstances.
A $1,600 payment, Jade, would buy you a $200,000 house.
Wow. Wow. I hope you guys are listening to all this. This is very important information. There's tons of questions coming in for you right now, which is really good. This one comes from Gonzalo. Okay. It says, I have credit, but my wife doesn't. Does that affect how much we can qualify for as far as a loan is concerned?
Yes, it would, because you have to be able to credit qualify, Jade. So what we would do is we would take his income, and based on his debt to income ratio, that would be the maximum amount they qualify for if they want to buy now. Or we could put a long-term plan together where we could go out and get the wife some secured credit cards, or if he has credit cards, we can put her on his cards as an authorized user. And what that does, Jade, is the following month after we put her on his cards, however long he's had the cards, she immediately gets credit for that.
Wow. So basically, just within a month of her becoming an authorized user, her credit score can jump just
Correct.
because he had credit.
Correct.
Amazing. Okay. Okay. Great. This is great. Okay. So Melanie Albright says, if I refinance my car or if I get a loan modification, will that affect my credit score?
If you get a loan modification for your car or a loan modification for your house?
It sounds like for the car. So if I if I refinance my car or get a loan modification, so it sounds like she's doing something to her car, but she's worrying about whether that's going to affect her credit score as she applies for a house.
Sure. Okay. So more than likely, if she's talking about doing a loan modification, Jade, a lot of companies right now are offering some type of a forbearance because of COVID. So if she does put her car payment in a forbearance program where there's no payment for the next 3 to 6 months, as long as it doesn't report negatively to her report, which it should not, then that doesn't impact her. But I still would have to, whatever her normal monthly payment would be, I still would have to count that in her debt to income ratio.
Okay.
And the second part of her question, if she does refinance her car, I would strongly suggest that she refinance it with the same lien holder so that there's not multiple inquiries on her credit that could lower her credit score.
Okay. Okay. Look, I hope somebody recording this because I need to watch all this back myself, Tommy. Okay.
You got my number. You can just call me.
I'm gonna call you. Okay. All right. So let's talk about this. There's a lot of people on here that they are just starting the process, even in their mind of
Sure.
owning a home. Okay.
Sure.
They have no idea how much home they can afford. Where do they start? Like, where is that starting process on how much they can afford?
That's a great question. A couple of things, and this is one of the reasons that I love partnering with Habitat. Habitat has some great classes that allow you to sit down kneecap to kneecap, Jade, with counselors that have your best interest at heart. What I love about partnering with Habitat is that they set you up not to fail, because as we all know, what you actually qualify for on paper and what you can pay in real life, Jade, is most times two different numbers. So where I typically tell my clients to do is, if they're husband and wife or if they're single, sit down, do your budget, and see what is a comfortable amount for you. What is that number? And then once we find that number, we back into how much of a house that looks like. Everybody wants to go out and try to get the MTV cribs or something the first time. It's your first home, not your last one. So we want to start making those incremental steps. I'll tell a quick story, Jade. I had a single mom. This was December of 2017. Had a single mom. She was only making $39,000 a year. Had 3 beautiful little kids. So she wanted to buy a home. It was just her. She was very limited income. So she purchased a home. And in 2018, she met the love of her life. They got engaged. There was going to be a blended family. So they needed more space. So they called me and my team back in to liquidate her house so that they could buy a bigger house. In 12 months, Jade, she bought the house for $135,000 in December of 17. 12 months later, we sold that house for $168,000. She walked away with $23,000 in her pocket. I don't know any apartment complex that you can stay in for 1 year and then they give you a rebate check of $23,000.
It's not going to happen.
So home ownership, it's not going to happen. So it's very important to everybody that's listening today that you need to get in the wealth acquisition game, and real estate is one of the easiest ways to do that. It may not be your last home, but it does need to be your first home.
There you go. And like you said, that $23,000, now she has enough money to put towards a larger home, and she has money still in her savings, and she can go vacation. She can put that towards retirement. That equity that was built up can go towards multiple things, which is a beautiful thing. Okay. So
To your point, what we did with that $23,000, we paid off her student loans, we paid off her car payment. So she went into a new marriage and a new relationship with no freaking debt.
amen. Won't he do it? I love that. Okay. That's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about. There's tons of questions. I don't even know if we're gonna have enough time for all this. Is so exciting. Okay, so somebody on here says there's a bankruptcy. Okay, they have a
Okay.
bankruptcy. What are some of the steps that they can take with the bankruptcy on their credit, and they still want to purchase a home? So what are the first steps
Okay.
to getting rid of that?
All right. I really wish they would have told us, was it a Chapter 13 bankruptcy or a Chapter 7 bankruptcy? Because there's two types of consumer bankruptcies, Jade. The first one is a Chapter 13, which is a reorganization of debt. So basically what you do is you say, hey, I'm overwhelmed right now with my credit card debt, with my car payment and stuff like that. I need help. So you go to a trustee, they help you reorganize the debt. They lower your payments. They extend the repayment time back to your creditors. And so that helps you get back on track. Okay. Now, the second type is a Chapter 7. That's when you throw up the deuces like, dude, I'm sorry. I know I said I could do this, but life showed up. I can't pay this. Y'all come get it. Wipe it all away. So if you're in a Chapter 13, you can buy a house now, Jade. All you have to do is get permission from your trustee, and your trustee is going to tell us the most that you can qualify for, and we can work with that. If you're in a Chapter 7 or you've come out of a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, the first thing we have to do is reestablish credit. We have to show the mortgage company that, hey, this was life showed up. Either I got sick, there was a reduction in my employment, I got a divorce, something traumatic happened in my life where I could no longer meet my financial obligations. So now I'm hitting Control Alt Delete, Jade, and I'm resetting, I'm recalibrating, and I'm catching my financial breath, and I'm starting over again. So when you do that in a Chapter 7, they want to see how you've paid somebody else for 2 years.
Okay. Which is, and this just goes to show why education is so important, because there's so many different circumstances and scenarios. And you brought up something about life happened, especially with COVID-19. There's a lot of people in those situations right now because a lot of hours were reduced. A lot of people were put on furlough, so on and so forth. So that's a really good point. Just a couple more questions, Tommy. You guys were trying to squeeze in as many as we possibly can. There's a lot of questions coming in. This question says, from Melissa, it says, if I want to refinance my home from conventional to VA, what should I expect? Does she have to get a new appraisal on the home? Are there out-of-pocket expenses? And how long will that take?
Okay, so the process takes 30 days or less. If she wants to refi, Jade, there would be an appraisal because we have to establish value. And if there's enough equity position in her house, we can roll all the cost in.
Okay. Just a couple more questions because these are really good. Okay. Where can they apply for grants? You mentioned grants earlier. Where do you apply for grants, or do they need to contact you directly for that?
Yes. So what happens with the grants? The grants are all zip code, census tract, income, and household number of household specific. So we would have to look at what part of the metroplex you want to be in, what is your income, how many people are in the house, and then I would determine either me or Habitat from the grants that we have available in our lending portfolio, which ones make the most sense for you.
But it's great that you guys have those available, which is absolutely just, it's mind blowing to me. Again, where were you when I've heard? Oh my goodness. Okay. This one comes from Marcos. What are your thoughts on using your 401k funds for a down payment?
Okay. So it really depends on your age, your stage in life. If you're in your 20s or 30s and you have enough time to recoup that money, then I'm okay with that. Also, I want to look at the terms of withdrawal. I want to know if they really, Jade, it's a loan against your principal balance, and they're not really giving you the money, meaning that your money is still making money for you. It's just kind of a loan. I want to know what happens, Marco, if you leave the company. So these are things that I would want to know before I could fully advise on that. But in the regular sense of the word, if we could not get a grant for you, then money from your 401k would be a viable option.
Okay. What are options for educators when purchasing a home? Because I know that there are some sort of education discounts, right? That's from Melanie Albright.
Yeah. So the great thing about that, Jade, is that we have industry specific grants, like for first responders, police officers, teachers, doctors. I mean, so there we would just see again if the education grant is the best grant for you, or if one of the more general grants would be better for you. But
Okay.
yes, we do have they do have education grants available.
Okay. And then last but not least, this is just a comment, but I love this. And then look, you know, Tommy, me and you could be now. Tommy's another one I could be on with all day long. Okay. It says, I'm 41. I get discouraged about buying a home. I'm going to be 70, still paying on a home. That comes from Kenya. Now, Kenya, if you're renting, you're going to be 100 still paying on your rent.
Thank you.
What would you say to Kenya?
Thank you. What I would say to Kenya is I would piggyback on exactly what you said, Jade, is that Kenya, you're gonna be paying somebody's mortgage for the rest of your life. It might as well be yours.
Ooh.
So Kenya, I just put, Jade, a first-time home buyer, 69 years young, in a house last month. And they told me this elderly couple, they're disabled, they're veterans. They told me that they had given up the dream of home ownership and they thought they would be renters for the rest of their life. And I said, not on my watch.
I love that. I love that. You guys, do you see this energy? Do you see this knowledge? These are the type of people that you are going to be connected with when you connect yourself with Dallas Area Habitat for Humanity. Tommy, you are absolutely amazing. A wealth of information. I wish we could talk to you for 30 more minutes, but you guys, this is why it is important to get connected so you can have professionals like this walk you through the process. Tommy, there are a lot of other questions, but I think we got through a lot. So thank you so much. And it's so good seeing your face. I'm glad you're doing well.
You too.
All right, we're going to catch up, okay?
When all this craziness is over.
Yes,
okay,
absolutely. All right, I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
All right, bye. All right, see what I'm talking about, y'all? This is really, really great. Woo! This is good stuff right here. This is really good stuff. It says, can we get Tommy's information? Again, you guys, contact Dallas Area Habitat for Humanity. And again, these are all the experts that you'll be connected with. So don't worry. See, we're showing you your team right now. Okay. That's what we're doing. So next I want to welcome somebody else very important. I love this woman. She is always so positive every time I talk to her. This smile is very consistent. Her name is Blaine Cowart. Did I pronounce your last name right, Blaine?
It's close enough, Jade. Cowart.
Cowart. Okay. Cowart. Okay. She is the Senior Director of Home Owner Services at Dallas Habitat. And she's going to talk to us about the education opportunities available through Dallas Habitat. Because again, education is important because you can get that home, but we want you to be able to keep that home, right?
That's exactly right, Jade.
Okay. First so tell us a little bit. Yeah.
I was going to say, just thank you so much, Jade, for being here today. I want to congratulate everybody who is tuned in. There are several hundred people in here live right now, taking this first step. And I see your sweet comments in there. I see you, Miss Jasmine. We love you too. Your Habitat team loves you too. I would say if today is your first interaction with Dallas Habitat, welcome. We cannot wait to work with you. And I can't wait to share a little bit about the work that we do with education today at Dallas Habitat.
Okay, so let's jump right into it. Why is the education so important?
Here's the truth, Jade. Being a successful home buyer and a successful homeowner is about so much more than just qualifying for a mortgage, right? Tommy Jones, who we love so much, just gone on here and shared some great nuggets of information for y'all. But what you need to know is that homeownership is more about really preparing yourself holistically for this incredibly important step. What we know at Habitat is that transitioning from renting to becoming a homeowner is a lifestyle change.
Sure.
It's going to require, you know, learning how to maintain a home, understanding if you want to maintain a home or are even ready to maintain a home. It's about being financially prepared with a budget. We heard Ms. Shaka this morning talk about, you know, the work that she put into creating a budget and maintaining her budget. Becoming a homeowner is about understanding new concepts too, though, right? Like property taxes, like why you need to have legal things in order, like a will when you're a homeowner, why these things become so important. And so truthfully, Jade, as a first-time home buyer, that can be really intimidating, right? So I've been there. And even with the work that I do, right? The first time that I went this alone, I had so many questions. And so for Habitat, our education is the perfect place to get started so that as you're navigating this homeownership journey, you feel comfortable, you feel confident, and you're really ready to take this step successfully.
I'm gonna tell you what's crazy is because I mean, I actually, thank God, I'm actually a homeowner, but there's so many things that I don't know. So I will actually be logging in to get this education because even though I own my own home, there are so many things that I haven't learned that you guys have already mentioned today. And I'm thinking, because I didn't have you guys when I was walking through this process. That's why I think this is amazing that you guys literally are that village for people that are starting this process. Let me ask you this, as far as the education opportunities, you mentioned some of the areas that they can learn on. What are some of the other things that they can expect as far as when they log on? There's a lot of people that say, well, I work during business hours, so there's no way that I can do this. How can I participate and learn? I got a job during the day, right?
Valid question, right? Plus it's tough, not even just work, right? We work with a lot of single parents. It's hard to get home, take care of the kids, feed them, you know, get them all situated, and then duck back out into Dallas traffic and get in person. It's a lot. So here's a great thing at Habitat. We've been digital with our education way before COVID-19 hit. Okay, so we are really well primed to meet clients and first-time buyers where you're at. Okay, so the beauty of our digital education is that you don't have to come in person. Everything we do is available online. And because it's available online, you can access that education and that information at a time that works for you. So there are really no excuses, Jade. If you are ready to take this first step, take the first step. We've got a ton of options to do that. What you see on your screen right now, what we're showing you is a preview of this amazing platform that Dallas Habitat offers for financial education and homebuyer education. It's called PocketWise. And what I love about PocketWise is that not only is this resource available to anybody, literally anywhere, all you have to do is click buttons, okay? Everything's available online, but it's free. And because we understand that homeownership is not the only thing that matters in families' financial futures, right? There's so much more that goes into preparing for homeownership and then sustaining homeownership. So we've got great information on there, not just about buying a home, but also about credit basics, budgeting basics, and then for your other big goals that are going to come beyond that, right? Saving for college if we have kids, right? Planning for retirement, right? So all of these financial goals that happen in our lives are equally important. At Habitat, we're big believers in education start to finish.
And I love that as I was looking at the video that was playing, you know, a lot of these courses is at 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 3 minutes. So it's not something that takes all day, and you will be able to move at your own pace. As soon as the kiddos go down to bed, tell yourself that every single night you're going to take 15 to 20 minutes to watch these courses, maybe 2 or 3 at a time. Something is always better than nothing. So I love how you guys have scaled this down, and it's not like overwhelming, like, Lord, you know, this is a 45, 50-minute session. How am I going to be able to do that? So I love that. You guys, again, no excuse. You can do it right from your bed. You can be laying in your bed and doze off while you're watching it. Okay. Okay. I have one last question before we have to get off, Blaine. Let's talk about our children, because you mentioned there are a lot of single parents on here. There may be a lot of, you know, dual parent homes as well. But how can we start teaching our children about financial literacy and home ownership? Are these courses that they can take as well? Because I believe that to break these curses, we need to get our kids educated before they get our age. You get what I'm saying?
Yes. Jade, I love this question. First of all, because I know how passionate you are with your foundation, everything that you do in empowering youth. right? And we believe the same thing at Habitat. You know, many of our financial habits as adults and our attitudes towards money, right? These begin when we're very young, before we even know that we're forming these attitudes. We're watching people around us, right? Our parents, our family, our friends manage their money, and we're learning from that for better or for worse, right? And so when it comes to the point that we're ready to make an important financial step, like buying our very first home, we would be at a great advantage if prior to that, we've developed the financial habits that we need to make a successful purchase.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, at Habitat, we believe that the most important way that you can start this with your children is by opening up a dialogue, having a conversation about money. But it certainly helps to have tools when you're doing that. PocketWise, the platform that we just shared with you guys, a little preview of, that is a great resource because it's interactive, because it's engaging, it's self-guided, a great resource for middle school and high school aged children, just like it is for parents, to be able to talk about these important topics together. But also, Dallas Habitat is sharing this fall, for the first time ever, in Dallas ISD campuses, PocketWise Prep, which is going to be available in 6 campuses in DISD, digital financial education to bring this resource to students' fingertips.
Which, you know, I absolutely love. I'm like, I cannot believe that you guys are going to offer this. Again, it's so important to start this education early. Blaine, you're amazing as always. I really appreciate you guys. Again, they can go to dallasareahabitat.org/education. You can get right there to PocketWise. It's free, it's quick, it's self-paced. Go get the information. So while your team is helping you, you're also helping yourself. Blaine, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Jade.
Yes. All right, y'all. Again, another team member that you're going to see, another welcoming, beautiful, happy, loving face is going to cheer you on through this process.